Hi. Well, I'm on a little bit of a social media hiatus, but I had some thoughts today and I thought I would share them. For those of us with a complex PTSD background, that's something I often speak to, right, with having aged out of the foster care system. But others with other backgrounds, with lengthy histories of childhood trauma, including adoption, and even like step-parent, that kind of stuff, can often relate. I would say that for this topic too, children of divorce often can relate as well. But this morning I woke up after a dream regarding someone dying. I don't have dreams that come true. I'm not that kind of like empathic or anything. But it just put me in a mood, right? Because the ultimate goodbye really is death, isn't it? But it brewed this morning a little bit about the trauma trigger of endings, of goodbyes, which often also include death. So often, many of us haven't been able to have choices in our goodbyes, in our endings. And I mean, death is the ultimate one that we really don't get really any choices with, right? But for many of us, any kind of ending, any kind of goodbye, be it the ending of high school, the ending of jobs, the ending of a home, moving, right? I mean, those of us especially who moved a lot, whether you were in the military or foster care, whatever that may be, moving has its own trigger to it, right? But endings just altogether, any kind of goodbye has a lot of trauma triggering aspects to it, doesn't it? It can be really heavy. That transition in life, because that's what those are, endings are transitions of seasons, right? They can be really hard for some of us, sometimes even triggering like depressive episodes, and sometimes even more severely triggering self-harm or thoughts of suicide, right? And endings are just hard. But one thing I was talking a little bit about this morning too is how it's really important that we learn to differentiate or separate between the present moment and what's currently happening and the things from the past that really are being triggered because they feel similar, right? It doesn't invalidate what we've been through, but what we tell ourselves is, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to come back to that in my next therapy session and talk a little bit about how that really came up for me, and unpack that with my therapist, right? But right now I'm going to focus on what I need to do in this current situation. And easier said than done, right? But it's just a very real trauma triggering area for many of us, and may always be. But that doesn't mean that we can't flow through it, right? Just like the storms of life, where the storms eventually pass, don't they? And we find ourselves in a new environment, new circumstance, new situation where we create our own stability. And we've done it before, and we can do it again. And eventually we want to get to the point where if that ending was of a beautiful, positive, lovely relationship, that we can look back on it as the time we spent together and the things that we learned and carry with us from that relationship. Just my thoughts for today. I hope all of you have a lovely rest of your week. Take care.